Hi all, I have yet another fascinating game of Paul Morphy to show you today. This was from the Anderssen-Morphy match of 1858. Historically, Morphy had cemented his status by a triumph in the first American Chess Congress of 1857. So as one of the greatest masters in the world, he travelled to Europe to play Howard Staunton and other chess greats. So he made numerous attempts to set up a match with Staunton, but none came to fruition. These notes are from Chess Games Gone, by the way. And Staunton was criticised for avoiding a match with Morphy. So Morphy crossed the English Channel to France, and then, despite having intestinal influenza, he actually played a match against the visiting German master Adolf Anderssen. And this is one of the games of that match. So let's have a look. E4 from Paul Morphy. C5, this is a Sicilian defence. D4, and it's a delayed knight f3 actually, which is interesting because it kind of it's an interesting move order in its own right to play knight f3 here. Usually, well, c3 if you're going to play d4. Usually, actually, the intention is c3. But okay, black protects, and we get a transposition. E6, knight b5, d6. We have bishop f4, which provokes e5, so we have that structural weakness. So it looks a little bit like a Sveshnikov, a little bit. But now black plays a very ambitious move. Adolf Anderssen plays a very, very aggressive move against bishop e3. He plays f5. This position in live book, usually players play with knight f6. For example, bishop g5. And here, bishop e6. This is seen quite a few games. Okay, but yeah, we have here super aggressive f5. So with the threat of f4, it seems. But Morphy plays something very, very interesting against this. Maybe he senses black's king still in the center, and it kind of weakens this critical diagonal. And he plays a very, very interesting move in this position. What would you play here? Can you guess Paul Morphy's move? In fact, it's that interesting. Let's do a guess the move. If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video. Okay, knight 1 to c3. Yes, heading to celebrate the fact that this knight's on b5, trying to go into c7. It's a fascinating idea. If we engine check this position, is it an idea which, yeah, modern engines, Stockfish 8 would play knight 1 to c3 here. Yeah. So just wanting to ignore this, basically this threat of f4 potentially. So we have f4, and what do you think the point is? If I give you 5 seconds, I might have given you a clue here. Do you move the bishop? No. No, you just do knight d5. Yeah, that's if his whole idea is knight d5, it makes it a more stunning conception, really. Just to sack a whole bishop here. Try and use the f file sometimes. Try and use the diagonal sometimes. So the bishop's taken. We have the check. Now here on king d7, there's queen g4 checkmate. That's how dangerous these knights are. They're poking in to a lot of escape squares around the king. Queen g4 is checkmate there. So king f7. So the king's on this critical file and that critical diagonal. We have check here. Maybe technically better is actually taking. For example, just taking and then going back is possible. This check, because actually in this position, I believe annotators at the time thought the attack was irresistible, but after knight d4, yeah, that is an interesting move, knight d4, and the only way to keep playing. If bishop e6 is a disaster, knight takes, check, for example, check, check, and mate is, yeah, knight, yeah, that's not possible to play bishop e6. So knight d4 is a good counter-attack move on the queen, allowing this discovered check. So knight takes f6 check, d5. So you might wonder, instead of d5, if bishop e6, we just take here, and then we have this discovered check. Yeah, there's a lot of discovered checks in this game. And then this is falling. Once the king moves, knight takes e6, and that's much better for white. So yeah, here, d5. Bishop takes d5. Now here is the point where there may have been a resource for black. I say maybe on deeper analysis it still might be completely lost for black. But it appears as though there might be a move to technically survive this position in king e7. This wasn't played. And it can get a bit outrageous after knight g8 check to actually play king d6 here. Yeah, this is very, very careful defense, because here actually, if takes check, this is better for white. After knight takes, so white's going to castle queenside and play c3 and stuff like that as well. But it seems though king d6, and it doesn't seem as though there's an immediate bust. But with deeper analysis, yeah, it's an odd position for the knights. They're super aggressive knights, but has white got anything absolutely concrete here? So it seems king e7 was a good try to try and survive this position, believe it or not. But the king went to g6, and here Paul Morphy plays a great sequence, absolutely superb sequence of attacking moves. Can you guess the first one? If I give you 5 seconds, starting from now. So it actually brings more resources to bear around black's king, in a way, with this combination, little combination, which starts off with queen h5 check. I mean, the queen's attacked anyway, so good way to sort that one out. F takes now, and the F file's opened up. So we've got this diagonal, we've got the F files, the classic. To have these roads open to the black king here. It looks so shaky, the black king. If instead knight e8 check, this might look tempting. But can you see what black could have played here? If I give you 5 seconds, black to play. Okay, queen takes e8 is possible. So that after here, check, winning that queen with a better position actually for black. Yeah. So f takes is great. We have knight takes c2, check, king e2, and the game ended here. Yeah, the black king's getting slaughtered here basically. As an example, queen takes, I mean black resigned here. If queen takes, check, check, we can win the queen, as an example. That's sufficient here. It's really quite a crushing position. There's a nasty pin after if the king took. There's also the queen coming to f7. Yeah, a nice attacking game, how he brought resources to bear on the black king. And he had a great intuition here, basically, about this f5, f4, that it shouldn't be good, that it could lead to a lot of lines being opened if he could like sacrifice a piece and try and just use this f5, f4 to make it backfire, to take over the diagonal and the f file. So another brilliant attacking gem from their official match in 1858. And Paul Morphy was of the opinion, sorry, his opponent was of the opinion that Paul Morphy was the greatest after this match, because he was trounced. Yeah, he was trounced pretty convincingly, and this was one of the more crushing games. Funny enough, it wasn't that long, this game, like 17 moves. Okay, I hope you got something from it which is instructive. It would be nice if we can carry, if we look at Paul Morphy's games again, maybe more will rub off on us, so we can use his energy in our own games sometimes in the appropriate positions where he would have excelled. It's nice to be able to do that with players of the past, to try and use their skill set in relevant positions in your own games. So that's why I think this series is pretty instructive. So I hope let the Morphy be with you in your own games. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.